You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast. I almost said candy shop. I'm sorry. Let me start over. I had to stop. Okay. You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your one place for all things Madonna, Louise, Veronica, Ciccone. Welcome. It's Tony.
Hey everybody, it's Ben.
Hey everybody, it's Stefan. Welcome to another episode of MLVC. Just wanted to say poor Liberty is down for the count. She's sick and she's heartbroken that she won't be able to join us tonight, but she's sending her love and we miss her terribly. But just that's why she's not with us tonight. So, and tonight it's an auspicious night. We are celebrating the 10th anniversary of Madonna's Rebel Heart album. I can't believe it's been 10 years already. It feels like yesterday and then not yesterday all at the same time. But for everyone tuning in, if you're not aware, Rebel Heart is Madonna's 13th studio album. And just to clarify, it's called 13 because they are not counting I'm Breathless as a studio album. So basically, you can call this her 13th studio album if you don't consider I'm Breathless a studio album. Because, and I have to bring this up because everyone's saying that her forthcoming album with Stewart is M15. And so I'm like, well, yeah, it's her 15th if we don't count I'm Breathless. I tend to count I'm Breathless, but for
Yeah, I
shit,
just,
for shits and giggles, we'll just say it's her 13th studio album without I'm Breathless. Um, it was released by Interscope Records at the time on March 6th, 2015. And of course, as we know, she worked on this with Avicii and Diplo and Kanye West and bevy of other songwriters and producers. I mean, the list is endless. And this was, of course, a very fraught era with Madonna. It did not really go the way that she wanted to. For the purposes of this episode and this anniversary, we are going to focus solely on the official release tracks from the Super Deluxe edition. We are going to do a separate episode about all of the leaks. And then we're also going to do another episode about the tour, probably a little later this year in honor of the anniversary of the tour. So you've got some Rebel Heart. I figure since the album is so big, we can't all squeeze it into just one episode. So you're
right.
going to get a couple Rebel Heart episodes. Um, but yeah, I mean, how do we want to start with Rebel Heart? I mean, I guess we all know the story because she meant to release the first single around Valentine's Day in 2015, and then the album was supposed to happen in March, but things didn't go her way due to some Israeli guy who was hacking her email and stealing songs. And
Yeah.
so we got first two tracks that came out. Which were Wash All Over Me and Rebel Heart. And then very shortly afterwards, we got like a bunch more and then like the entire album. And to combat
Mm.
that, Madonna just decided she was going to gift us a Christmas gift that year. And on, I think it was Christmas Eve that year, we got
Hmm.
a 6-track EP, which was basically the first 6 tracks of the album, with the rest of the album following in the so that was 2014, and then the rest of the album came in 2015. But I mean, there's a lot to cover. Do we want to talk favorite tracks? Do we want to go track by track? How do you want to work it, boys?
Well, maybe we should give our sort of overall thesis assessment of it as a body of work.
You
Tony
go.
Yeah.
can go first.
Okay, go, Tony.
Yeah, no, what I was thinking about was I don't remember specifically where I was reading all this information, but I remember somebody told me, um, type in unapologetic bitch on Google. And I would, and then it went straight to Madonna, like to her Wikipedia page. And there were a couple of other keywords that every time you type them in, they would take you to Madonna's page. So I was thinking this is the beginning of the rollout. They're going to have this whole thing where you type in Madonna's name or something and it's going to take you to a site and it's going to talk about the music or whatever. And, I was getting really excited. cut to like one Friday morning, I get a call like at 6:30 in the morning. One of my coworkers is like, "There's Madonna music that just came out," and I'm like, "That's not true." And there it was. It was on, iTunes or whatever it was, and it was the first couple of leaks. And yeah, I mean, as a body of work, it's kind of I feel like we got a lot of this piecemeal, and when the album finally came out, in my opinion, it was a little underwhelming,
Mm.
you know. Um Maybe it was because there was so much to cover, and it didn't feel like there was a focus. But for the most part, I would say, if I mean, you could say the same thing about MDNA. You could condense it into about 10 to 12 tracks and it would be a really solid record,
Hmm.
but this was also, it needs to be mentioned that this is the first time Madonna worked in a songwriting camp. There were dozens of writers and producers per song, if not half dozen, and I think it affected a lot of the songs that were more ambitious. But
Hmm.
they're like, we'll talk about which tracks slapped and which ones did not. You know, but yeah, this is a very ambitious project. It would be interesting to know what was planned for it, because everything got subverted by the leak. Um, and the release was supposed to be like a Valentine's Day thing, and that did not happen. And then couple that with what happened at the Brits in London,
Hmm.
it wasn't Madonna at her most confident, and I hate that for her, because that's what we expect when she puts a new record out.
Yeah, it did feel a little thwarted, the era, just be like things just got off to such a rocky start, and she was,
Hmm.
I mean, rightly so, very irritated that the leaks happened. And I mean, it was a very angry Instagram post at the time that she put up about like artistic rape, and it was she just was not happy about it. And then yeah, it's her in that cape, the wardrobe malfunction at the Brit Awards. I mean, that was shocking. And like watching it live at work, that it was shocking to
I
see.
almost
And
had a heart attack. I was
Yeah,
I
sitting
me
here at
too.
home. I almost died.
yeah, I mean, I couldn't. My mouth was agape, and I was texting somebody, being like, "Oh my god!" Like it was just, and I mean, props to her for getting up and finishing that performance, and like a pro. I mean, if you think about, like, Ashley Simpson had a stupid uh,
She ran off the
vocal
stage.
issue, and she ran off stage at Saturday Night Live. Like it's like she couldn't even handle it. So props to Madonna for being like dragged down a flight of stairs and then getting up and dancing. I always remember during the I think it was the Girly Show reunion, where the dancers were all like, they were like they could not believe that any of the dancers that were dancing with her during the Brit Awards did not like stop and pick her up. Like they just kept going. And I mean, maybe they were told to, but it's like they were like,
Stefan,
we would have picked her up.
don't you think she would have been like, "Get your hands off me"? She would have been like, "This is,
100%.
yeah,
She
this is
did not
my
want to be,
moment." Yeah,
well, and she did not want to be seen being helped up off the
yeah.
ground.
Yeah. And she
Yeah,
said she knew, she said she's fallen off horses. She knew how to fall properly. So,
exactly.
Listen,
but
we all know as fans that when Madonna wants to be vulnerable and show vulnerability, it's up to her. It's not up to anyone else.
mhm. But yeah,
Yes.
so I do think that, I mean, the rollout was definitely a bit disjointed. Um, we then, I mean, obviously she had originally planned to do a double album. The record company wasn't too keen on that, so she decided to just release a really big album. I mean, I had heard rumors that half of the tracks were meant to go to movie soundtracks like 50 Shades of Grey, The Giver. I think there was one or two other maybe possible, but I think ultimately, and we've talked about the album before, where I think she just was like, I'm just going to put, if no one's taking them, I'm just going to give them all out. And I think that's how we sort of got it. Does. I love the album, but I do feel it gets a little uneven towards the end. There's some really solid, amazing Madonna songs, and I think one specific song that shines as, and I'm quoted in the Madonna songbook as saying it's the most Madonna song she's written in ages. So, yeah, Ben, what did you think of Rebel Heart overall?
Well, you kind of touched on it. Like the original concept for the album was one half rebel, one half lover, Rebel Heart, right? So she had talked about a double disc, but also just a larger, like half ballads, half up tempo tracks. And we'll probably get more into that as a concept with when we cover the leaks, just because a lot of the Avicii stuff that didn't make the final one are very much in that concept.
Yeah.
But then she clearly moved on to other writers and other producers. Uh, I feel like there's really good songs and really okay songs, only a couple of bad songs. And like Tony, it suffers from bloat, but for me, the bloat was the production. It hasn't aged very well. In re-listening um the last couple of weeks to prepare for this, I've really been struck by, wow, this production is so busy and bloated. And again, we'll talk more when we talk about the leaks and the production there versus the production here. And obviously the leaks had something to do with that because, as you mentioned at the top, she did the release of the 6 songs and they had already very quickly been reproduced. And we now
Hmm.
know that a lot of the final versions had been reproduced largely by Kanye and Mike Dean. And it definitely resulted in a sort of uh, uh, a sonic palette that maybe didn't fit all of the songs.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Wash All Over Me. Um,
uh,
Yeah.
my friend Sean and I, we still to this day will just randomly text each other, "R.I.P. Wash all over me," because
yeah,
we were always so sad that that song got. It was, I mean, because I think the first time we heard it, it was a dance song, and then when
it
she
was
put
a
Yeah.
it out,
da da da
yeah,
da da
that those
da da.
Avicii violins, and
Yeah,
then
and
Yeah.
now it's like
yeah,
it's like a
it's kind of
dirge.
trodden and kind of like
So,
dumpy almost.
but then when you strip off all the production and you go through songs like, I mean, I love the songwriting of like Graffiti Heart. It's so
Hmm.
very Madonna, and like Beautiful Scars is could have been
I
on
love
Ray of
that
Light,
song.
which is funny that it's a Rick Knowles
Hmm.
collaboration. Like she dipped back
Mm-hmm.
into that well. And like Best Night and Rebel Heart itself and Wash All Over Me, great songwriting, but then just some of it was just. I also think they did the whole. This is just my take. I don't know this for sure. I think when the whole bitch I'm Madonna became a thing and she embraced that on the project, and I think that led to more songs like Iconic and some of these others that were like hype songs that I'm just
Yeah.
like, it just felt, it doesn't feel authentic,
Hmm.
and neither in the songwriting nor the production.
Yeah.
So, but then you get
Yeah.
like a gorgeous thing like Heartbreak City, which, on the tour got blended with Love Don't Live Here Anymore. And you're like, oh, that's why I like this song so much.
Yeah.
It's like such a great distillation of that like emotional resonance. So it's like a meh for me on the whole. Like, I'm like
Yeah.
Tony, when it first came out, I definitely, because those were the days when you still did downloads, you didn't stream. And so you could download it and then just make your own version of it, right? You
Mm-hmm.
didn't
Hmm.
even have to make a playlist, you just made your own version. And I definitely had one that was 9 tracks, nice and tight, like True Blue.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I listened to. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you guys will agree with me, but this is the first time I heard a Madonna record from beginning to end where a lot of the songs didn't sound like her and it didn't sound organic and it sounded like, Madonna, we wrote this for you. Now
Hmm.
sing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the funny thing is there are some very inherent Madonna songs on this.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is
Devil Pray.
The
Yeah.
Madonna that we love, but then there's some other songs that are glaringly not Madonna, and yeah, it's sort of like they just sort of like retrofit her. They put her in the song almost.
Yeah.
And yeah, Ben, I
Well
do
put.
agree that there's a lot of the production is the song where like it's less about a catchy chorus and more about the production. And I'm thinking like iconic or
Yes.
Illuminati.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although, but see, and then there's weird things like, so I'll just pick on Illuminati for a moment. That song is not very special to me. I don't go to that song. Like that's a skip for me if I was like listening to the album. However, that moment where she's like, the little part where it's like it's just her singing. It's the enlightenment that started it all. And na 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 na.
Yeah.
The
That is
bridge.
that is so Madonna. Like it is perfect, quintessential Madonna. She sounds wonderful. Her vocals sound great, and that is so catchy. And I'm like, that's what I want more of that song. Like as opposed to
Yeah.
like it's not Jay-Z or Beyonce. It's not, like it's her the rapping part of it. I mean, again, that's the song. I'm used to it now, but like I wanted more of that. Yeah, the bridge. I like it's so I wanted that beautiful part. Um, but I don't. That's
No,
I.
you hit the nail on the head. This album has moments, but they don't add up to one beautiful moment. You know what I'm saying?
Although that I do think that because there are so many songs, you can sort of pick and choose, and I
Hmm.
think because of that, you do sort of say, oh, it's not that great, or this is not because there's so many of them. I mean, like
Yeah.
so many songs, but for me, my first not issue. I don't want to say issue, but
Hmm.
I did not adore "Living for Love" as a leadoff single. Now that might be a controversial thing for people, but for
Hmm.
me, "Living for Love" did not have the catchiness that I felt a leadoff single that Madonna should have. Although I love that it was just her, like it wasn't her with a Kanye or her with, Nicki Minaj or her with like it wasn't a duet in any way, shape, or form. It was solely her singing. I mean, there was Mnek in the background and Alicia Keys on piano, but it was, it was just her. But to me, that the chorus of Living for Love is the thing that just never sort of resonated with me. It just wasn't as catchy as I feel a lead-off single was. And
Hmm.
Yeah,
then
it's better live than it was as
correct.
a song
Yeah.
because she went back to the arrangement of the original version. Because on the internet, on the YouTube children, you can actually find multiple versions of that song as it went through. And if you go back to like the third one before Diplo started messing with it too much, like sometimes as a producer, he doesn't know when to leave things alone. And that was a song they should have just left alone. And then that became the basis for the remix that she performed at the
Hmm.
Brits on Ellen in the tour. And that version of it is that what's his face? The DJ that offered Nissim, is that his version?
Offer Nissum. So the version that they have on Finally Enough Love is the Offer Nissum edit, I believe.
Okay, but that's the
Oh.
one they did. That's the one they did in the show, and she did it on Ellen. Because like when she performed it on Ellen on that tiny little stage with the dancers and the choreo, I was like, "Oh, I like this song so much better this
Yeah,
way."
I'm
Like,
telling you, the version she did on Le Grand Journal, where she
oh
performed.
yeah,
Yeah.
So the
yeah.
Le Grand Journal, where she performed "Living for Love" and "Ghost Town." Right? It was those two songs. I
Yeah.
think it was.
Hmm.
Yeah. It was those two.
But the version she did at Le Grand Journal, that was the first time she had done that version, and I was like, okay, now this should have been the official release.
Yeah, yeah,
It just,
yeah. It's
I had heard that yeah, they had so many different versions, and they ultimately landed on the one that we got. But yeah, I think the album version, I was like, it didn't sparkle in the way that I felt a lead
well,
Madonna single should have.
it's a pastiche, and so it's got a lot of tape covering over some of its good parts, right? Because it's so
Yeah.
taped together and it just didn't help it. It did. Yeah, you're right. It lost its sparkle for sure.
However, though, I still like the song and I think it aged well, you know. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
it
yeah.
didn't it's not something that's going to completely disappear, I don't think, you know.
It did make
No,
it into the celebration tour, just a little bit.
Yeah,
a
A little
little
yeah.
bit.
tiny little bit.
It was referenced in the
Hmm.
celebration tour.
But I do feel like then moving on, we get to some really great meaty Madonna songs. So like Devil Pray,
Yeah.
that is such a fine Madonna song. She sounds great. It's very catchy. Like and it's very sonically even, and you just get pulled through that song. And I mean I mean obviously we'll talk about the tour more at length, but I love the performance that she did of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a great live performance, yeah.
It's just got a couple of cringe lyrics that I was
Yeah.
just like, the sniff glue thing,
Do,
really? Like,
doesn't that song remind you of this album's version of I'm a Sinner from NDNA?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And
A
yeah.
little bit
yeah,
more. I mean, that's the thing. Avicii is so present on some of these songs,
yeah,
which I'm happy about. Like, it's just and Devil Prayed to me is like that's like well because of the drug references in the song. Like, it's so like when you think about where Avicii was in his life and the I mean, eventually, he ends up committing suicide. The fact
yeah.
Devil Pray really resonates in terms of like where he was in his mindset. Um, so it's
Hmm.
fascinating to sort of think about like that's where he was when he was working with Madonna. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I think it's a very on brand song for her. I don't think that would have been a song that you could have released as a single. However, it's to me that's like Devil Pray is equivalent to like a Beautiful Killer, where it's like such a great Madonna song, but it would have never fared well as a single. But
yeah.
as a Madonna fan, we still love that, you know.
Oh, it's the song you wanted to see on tour.
Hmm.
Yeah. You wanted to see what she was going to do with that on stage, and
Hmm.
she fulfilled that for
Yeah.
sure. That's one of the highlights for
Hmm.
sure.
Sorry, we'll go rapid succession or else we'll be here for
Yeah,
hours.
go ahead, go ahead.
Oh,
So
yeah.
obviously, next song, Ghost Town. As I said, as I told Madonna Songbook, this is the most Madonna song
Yeah,
she's done in ages. I mean, it's her. I feel like it's her tribute to the Carpenters, and she sounds beautiful. And like Diplo said, if this was any other artist who did this song, it would have been a number one hit. But because it was Madonna, it didn't get anywhere. And I agree.
yeah. Agreed.
You know, it's it's
I
it's
think it should
it's
have been, you
catchy
know,
and
if
classic, and
yeah.
it's such a big banner song, and it should have been huge.
Yeah, I think
I,
in a different universe with the rollout, I think it could have been the first single and it probably would have been really
Oh, I mean
big,
that
you know.
video with what Terrence, what's his
Terrence Howard.
Terrence,
yeah,
yeah.
Terrence Howard.
Oh
He
my
was
God,
on
I love that the
um
choreography in that video was amazing. I love it.
okay, I'm
The
gonna be the odd
coat,
person
the
out.
hat.
I have to be the odd person out here. I am not a fan of Ghost Town.
All right, goodbye.
Really?
No, it. I love her vocals on it, and I like some of the writing, but I just feel like it was it was such a like any pop star 2015
Oh,
2014
interesting.
sound. It
Right, but Madonna needed that at that time, you know?
She
And
did,
that's
but yeah, I don't it see to me it doesn't feel all that Madonna. It just feels like I don't yeah, I that song I'm like that could have been like Selena Gomez singing that in
yeah.
Well, see, Ben,
2014.
you're the reason why it didn't go number one. That's
Yeah.
why, like people like you are the reason why that song didn't go anywhere.
I
Exactly. Like
loved the video. The
if
Yeah.
video was
Rihanna had
fantastic.
done that song that
Hmm.
Oh, it would have
year,
been huge.
yeah.
It would have been huge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
People be.
Okay, that actually is probably the closest. It does sound like it could have been an extra track on Auntie,
Yeah.
like a year
Well,
I could see
I
that.
later.
mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this album they were mining for hits, you know. That's why they
Yes,
had all the
yes.
songwriters, and
Hmm.
I mean, they were like, okay, we're throwing everything against the wall and we're going to put all these, production qualities behind it. We're going to put all these writers on it. Okay, the song's done. We're going to redo it, and I think that
Yeah.
that happened a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we can say at this point that that's just not, she does not, that is not where she excels. Like she needs that
Mm-mm.
true collaborator, one or two, and they like get in the pocket and just do the thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the songwriting process was too inconsistent for her because she wasn't able to sort of like keep the thread together because Diplo, Avicii, everyone was like popping in and out, going on tour, emailing back and forth, and she wasn't able to focus. I mean, they even brought she was supposed to do another session with Pharrell. It was supposed to happen earlier, and then it didn't happen until later. And she'd already done a bunch of songs, and so like there were some Pharrell songs that were part of the leak that I happen to love, but like are very different from the vibe of the album,
Very
which you can then
different.
see
Yeah.
why they didn't make it on the album. But it just like to me the I think the chaos of the process of putting this album together comes through a little too much, and I think
Oh,
that's
100%.
where like
Yeah.
we as Madonna fans, I think maybe had you not like because I know there are some younger Madonna fan, like young people today who like are maybe that was their first rollout of a Madonna album. They weren't used to how she did it before, or used to the exquisite eras that she had packaged up for us prior to that. So to them, this was a gift. We get all these songs, and but I think for us, as like long term, we've grown up with her that we could sort of see
Yeah.
behind the curtain a little bit more. We were like, something doesn't seem right
Yeah.
here. It's again,
Well,
I
the
love
output
the
didn't meet.
songs. Like I love
Well,
the songs, like not all of them, but like I love
yeah.
music. But there's, I mean, I do have issues with some of them, and others I
But
don't.
I think the disconnect is more that the output didn't match the concept. Like she was selling it as the rebel heart, the
Hmm.
warrior and the lover, and none of that came through.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if
No,
you,
no, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, like if
Yeah.
you listen to her read her interviews and listened to the press and that she was doing, and then you listen to the album, you're like, what?
Why
Yeah.
do you say that though, Ben?
Well, because it's there isn't that dichotomy of the rebel and the lover in this album. Like that
Right.
concept doesn't really play through.
So I'm just gonna play devil's advocate on. So why don't you feel that the love songs are not there? Because I mean, we've got "Living for Love," we've got "Ghost Town," you've got um, I mean, "Heartbreak City," "Body Shop." I mean, there's a lot of
I think
love.
Heartbreak City and Body Shop are the only. See, Living for Love is like a express yourself to me. It's an up
Yeah.
with
That's getting
me.
over
And
a breakup song.
yeah, and I can't just Ghost Town. I can't. But yeah,
Well,
like
guess what, y'all? I can't with Body Shop. Like that's when I went to the bathroom with that Rebel Heart tour.
Yeah, Body Shop to me is a skip for sure. It's a little too saccharine on the album. I do think she tends to have those moments. Obviously we've got Cherish or Superstar or Little Star. I think Body Shop is that moment on this album where it's maybe because there are so many other mature themes and mature production happening that Body Shop sort of just comes in and like sticks out a little too much.
Mhm.
I think maybe if it had been on another era somewhere, like I don't know what era it would have flown better on, but like it to
Mhm.
me, it doesn't fit here. Um,
I think it
because
could have been fine on Madam X right next to Come Alive. They sound exactly the same.
you're right though. Yes, yeah, it does. I mean, yeah, for sure.
Oh my God. Oh, I can't. What's
It is.
crazy is that the almost all the writers and the production people on Body Shop are the same people who did Devil Pray.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they were
It's
stretching.
it's
They were
it,
stretching themselves for sure.
it's a
They
Mike
should,
Dean production.
yeah, that no, actually, that's a Blood Prop production.
Oh, is
Those
it?
two songs
Okay.
are the guy that did the producer who did a lot of art pop.
Mm.
So,
Well, so then obviously for this era, Madonna was very caught up on bitch, the word bitch, because
Yeah.
yeah,
there were multiple songs that have that title too, or actually on the album, and then there's like a couple others that like didn't make it on the album. But we've got "Unapologetic Bitch," one of my personal favorites, just because I was part of that song in the tour,
Oh, were
and
you?
oh,
yes.
tell us again.
I'll save that for the tour episode. And then
We'll go
bitch.
get a drink in that part,
Okay.
Tony.
And then bitch, I'm Madonna. I happen to love both. I mean, you can
Uh,
definitely see Diplo's experience, you know, like his hands are all over the production on that. Unapologetic bitch is a little bit more reggae tinged.
Oh,
Um,
wait, don't forget about holy water. Bitch, get off my pole.
Exactly. That's bitch was all over the place. Um, and then bitch, I'm Madonna. I mean, it's funny. I don't think I really resonated with that song when it came out, but I actually really love it now, just because it's such a uh, different vibe for her. And um, I mean, I wanted it to be more melodic, but
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about that song that I kind of like the video and how messy it was. Like I remember like the styling just seemed so messy in that video with the hair. It was all kind of straggly and she was wearing the
Yeah.
hat and like the grills. And I mean, I love the video. I think that video is wonderful. The colors popping with the remember the bitch I'm a sock and she's so the socks are singing and she's like all the choreography with the two Asian women that she has, and I mean, and again, I know we're not talking about the tour, but I gotta say the red fans on tour with "Bitch I'm Madonna." I mean, it's so good. I love that. I think I love it. Apparently, neither of
I
my friends here
I
are
skip
agreeing with me.
unapologetic bitch, Illuminati, and bitch I'm Madonna. I
Mm,
don't.
Yeah, for the most part
Yeah.
too. I like the lyric. After my breakup, I love the lyrical content of an apologetic bitch, obviously, but
mhm.
I got into that song years after the fact. I'm more of like a best night, holy water, beautiful scars, wash all over me, original. Um, Rebel Heart, like those are the songs that really like came out for me. But especially Best Night. That is one that I will always add to a Madonna playlist with other songs.
We can skip around. I mean, Best Night for me, that was like bedtime stories come back to
Slash
life.
erotica. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
exactly.
like,
Yes.
what's happened
Yes.
right here? Like and I that's what I loved about like some of the songs where it's like where she did sort of reference herself again, which we always love. Like Best Night sort of has elements of Justify My Love, Holy Water. Now Holy Water. I mean, that is an iconic song for
Yeah.
Madonna. Like the bitch get off my pole and and then she weaves Vogue into it and again, iconic performance at the tour.
Hmm.
I think there's certain moments where Madonna proves how much visual interpretation can help elevate a song and I mean,
Yeah. Holy Water suffers from not great production, though. That could have been a much better song with better production.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
I mean,
plotting.
like with what is it? What am I? Hard Candy. Brain freeze. Like with Hard Candy, I often wonder what Rebel Heart would sound like if there was a different producer involved on some of the songs. Because I think that's the one thing that Rebel Heart has going for it is the production sound throughout all the songs is very, very consistent. It sounds that they all sound like they live in the same
Yeah.
world, but I feel like they might have fared better if they didn't sound so similar, like if there was a bit more difference to some of it. I think maybe that's why I respond to something like Unapologetic Bitch or Bitch I'm Madonna or Holy Waters, because they're very like that's more
Yeah.
Diplo, and there's a bit of a difference coming through than like
Yeah.
the more Kanye tracks.
Yeah, but
No,
Holy Water is a Kanye track.
yeah,
That's why it
yeah, it
sounds the
is.
way it does. That was one of the ones that's why
Oh,
she
is it?
says
It's oh,
Jesus likes my
oh,
the
that's
Hmm.
right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
no, and you were absolutely right, Stefan. I think something like Veni Vidi Vici, which I think is a good track, would have been a better song or would have stood out more if Iconic were not there, if Illuminati were not there. It's like, let's have one of this instead of four of these,
Yeah.
and
Right,
It's
because
the
she's
hype
because she's
track.
she's rapping on or
yeah.
rapping or like spoken word on
Hmm.
multiple tracks. So it's like Illuminati, we
Yeah.
have it. She, like there's a little bit of that on Veni Vidi Vici. You get that, like it's a little too much
Yeah.
sometimes of the same stuff, where like had she been a bit more editorial, maybe the songs, some of the songs would have popped a bit more.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. I feel like after they did Bitch I'm Madonna, they were like, "Oh, this works." And then they tried making more of them, and you see what we got. Like,
So what are our thoughts on Hold Tight? Because I think
oh,
Hold Tight is a bit of a divisive song amongst fans. Some people really love it, some people don't love it.
I love
I
it.
okay, so Ben, your team love.
I
Tony, how
love
do you
it.
feel of it?
It's one of those songs that I heard it the first time and it never stuck with me the way
Okay.
Madonna songs usually do. So, um, I don't hear it often.
Yeah. So I'm Ben. I'm team. I love the song as well. I think that when I heard the demo of it leak, I was like, okay, it's an okay song. But then Ryan Tedder got a hold of it, and I think he now again, and that was part of the reason how the song turned out is they wanted it to sound like something
Yep.
currently on the radio, and so they sort of souped it up. You get those like and again, a lot of the tracks have like a marching band drummer sound. Like there's multiple songs on the album that have a marching band drum beat sound to them,
Yep.
which again, sometimes it works, sometimes better than others.
Well, Hold Tight harkens back to Beyonce's EXO from her self-titled, which Ryan
Ryan
Tedder
Tedder.
also had a hand in. It's that
Mm-hmm,
do 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 that goes
mm-hmm,
through the song. And
mm-hmm.
I'm the first when I heard the leak, I was like you, I was like, oh, that's got some potential in the songwriting, but that production is not manifesting its destiny. And this was one of the songs that actually got better after the leak
Yeah,
because I was like, oh, that is crisp and it snaps. And I was like,
yeah.
and she sounds great on it.
I mean,
So,
the thing that sold me on the album version, that to me I was like, okay, I'm sold, was the everything's gonna, when she that little part over and over and over again. It's just like I just love how she sounds on that moment. But and this to me was always a miss. I was like, why wasn't this released as a fourth single? I felt like it would have been super radio friendly. Like this is the song that you would still hear in the grocery store today had it been released, and I felt like,
it was playing in Target a couple months ago.
What?
oh,
Yeah, I've heard.
nice.
Yeah, the Target in my neighborhood, I've heard Hold Tight over the past decade at least once or twice. No, no, more than that. Because who was I with? And they were like, "Who is this?" I'm like, "Oh, that's Madonna from Rebel Heart." Oh yeah, it's on somebody's playlist
I was
there.
gonna say some gay named Randy is playing
Well, I
that
was gonna say, I
on.
mean,
Hmm.
I remember going to buy the super ultra deluxe 5-star edition of Rebel Heart at Target, the double one with all the
Oh, I have it. The one with the
yeah.
cover behind you, Tony. I have that one
Yeah.
somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great package, by the way. May not
It
love all the
really
songs,
is.
but I loved looking through that thing. It had everything I wanted from a Madonna release, double everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's I mean the books that we got from Rebel Heart
Hmm.
are amazing. The looks that we've got, like all the photos that we have behind us. I mean, we got some stellar imagery, photo shoots, the Mert Atlas shots from the actual album covers, and then the multiple editorials that she had in certain magazines, and of course the video looks were great as well. Then after Hold Tight, I mean, again, I felt like Hold Tight was like a missed opportunity. Like, why didn't she sing this on tour? I felt like that should have been like a it
Yeah.
should have been a tour. Like how you remember how when she did like when Truth or Dare came out and she released Holiday
Holiday, yeah.
and Like a Virgin as like videos from the Blind Ambition tour.
Yeah.
I felt like
Yeah.
that should have been what she did for Hold Tight. Like if you don't want to do an actual video version, put the song on the tour and then just have the pro footage of the tour be a performance video. And I felt like it was such a
Hmm.
missed opportunity because I felt like it was so radio friendly. It was so top 40, like adult contemporary ready song. And I don't know. I felt like Hold Tight was such a missed
It's also
opportunity.
just a good song. Like it's well written, the structure is good, it's
Mhm.
catchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just felt like that was such a weird decision to not, I mean,
I feel like the minute she was like, okay, we're gonna start rehearsing for the tour, she stopped promoting the album.
yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean, we all know that Interscope was not a favorite moment in Madonna's musical career, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did hear a rumor that Hold Tight was meant to be on Celebration Tour, that there was a section that she cut from Celebration that contained Candy Shop and Back That Up to the Beat and Living for Love and Hold Tight.
Hmm.
And I think music was part of that section as well. Um, but so Hold Tight was meant to be finally given its due, and again, it didn't make it. So,
It's
Well, I
funny that
mean,
you say that.
thematically, it goes with the Celebration tour.
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. It's funny because yeah, then you say that, and I know we can talk about it more when we talk about the tour, but like I don't know where you would have put that song in the Rebel Heart tour now that we think about that.
Mm. Yeah,
There's there there was nowhere that that song fit. Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So then after Hold Tight, we've got, I mean, again, there's a beast of songs like Joan of Arc, iconic, Heartbreak City. We've already discussed Body Shop and
I
Holy
love
Water.
Heartbreak City.
Let's talk about Heartbreak City for a second, because again, that was one that leaked, and we it didn't change very much from
No.
the leak to other than "And I Still Feel Shitty" getting cut at the very end of that. Um, but I loved seeing that on tour. I thought that was I think it's a great song.
Yeah.
It's a very angry Madonna singing about somebody who
Raheem.
did her wrong.
Listen, you go into her house, you got to come correct, you know what I mean?
That's
That
right.
yeah, that you're right. It's one of her angriest songs. It really wow,
And I feel
that
like she
was
wasn't even mincing words. Like you can sort
mm-mm.
of tell, like, oh yeah, this is her relationship with Brahim after MDNA ended.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's interesting too, because it's still, as you said, it went through very little changes. So it's still, presumably, that means it came from the Avicii sessions that they did those 2 weeks after the Oscars in 2014. So like that song had been sitting there for
Yeah.
a while,
Hmm.
and you
Yeah,
know,
I always wonder
yeah.
what happened to Joan of Arc because the original version was a ballad and it was beautiful, and then they injected it with some beats, Euro beats, and I'm like, this song doesn't hit the same way, and the themes that she's discussing in the song are too heavy to be trivialized with a dance beat. You know what I mean?
Hmm. And I felt like with Joan of Arc, it was a little too soft dance. Like it was
Yeah.
almost like, why are we trying to make this dancey if you're just gonna make it that fluffy? You know, like
Right.
it was kind of just like a little too adult contemporary fluff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like either commit to like the original vision or like
Yeah.
go full on like harder dance. You know?
Yeah. It reminded me of that really weak Rain remix that's on the CD single that they were
Yes.
trying to ship out to radio, and
Yeah.
thank God
Yeah.
that didn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's, I mean, because I like the messaging behind Joan of Arc, and
Yeah.
I like for someone who's like, it's about a warrior. It's a very wistful song
Yeah.
almost.
No,
Very
it's about someone who's a warrior but is also vulnerable and maybe heartbroken at the same time, you know?
right. So
Yeah,
maybe
she's
that's
too
where
busy
that's
fighting. She's not getting laid. That's what
Yeah.
that's about.
Thank you, Ben. That's what I wanted to
I,
say.
I mean, that's and it's funny because you can clearly see that like Joan of Arc and Heartbreak City were songs written and created with the original intention of the two halves,
Mhm.
right? The
Mhm.
rebel half and the heart half. And they would have been on the heart half, but because they were ballads, but they still had like the rebellious elements to them, right? Like the
Mhm.
rage and an ex. Yeah, I really wish she would have been able to stick with that original
Yeah.
concept. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's neither here
I
nor
no,
there.
Ben, to echo what you're saying, I feel like Beautiful Scars could have been part of that too. Maybe
Yeah,
somebody was like at Interscope was like, too many ballads on here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
probably.
then
But then we get the weird like so now this once we get to like Body Shop is when I'm like Holy Water I'm still hanging on. But once we pass Holy Water, that's when things start to go a little up and down for me where I'm
You
like,
don't like Inside Out?
so I did when the demo came out, and then I felt
yeah.
like they changed it too drastically. Again, I think that's the leaks of the demos really did a number because we were introduced to these songs, and the first thing we
Mhm.
hear is the demo, and then she totally takes it on a like I mean Wash All Over Me. I'll still never forgive whoever's decision it was to take it from this Avicii because again what
Yeah.
Kanye
Kanye
West.
what Kanye did to some of the other songs like Devil Pray did sort of like soup it up and change it. And I was like, why didn't they just do that to Wash All Over Me? Like, why didn't we take Avicii's dance version and just soup it up the way we did Devil Pray? Like, keep it dancey. I just Wash All Over Me is such a missed opportunity, in my
Mm.
opinion.
Yeah, same.
I just don't like the it. There's nothing to the song like as it currently stands. I was like, it's not doing anything. Like, at least there was drama with the Avicii version.
Mhm.
Yeah. I even in the redone version, which is by Mike Dean, I like Inside Out. I
There's
the
something
beat
to Inside Out that
I
not
is
like
the
her
just
song.
vocals.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
her vocals and the actual lyrics and the songwriting. Yes. The production, yeah.
I don't like her vocal treatment on the like. There's
Oh yeah, it
something
didn't need that
it,
weird
it's
No.
filter.
a bit compressed and yeah the filtering on it is kind of weird and um yeah I felt like Inside Out could have been better
Yes.
had somebody like taken the reins and produced it a little bit
Mm.
differently. um Obviously there's Tony's standout Best Night, which again to me I was like, yeah, this is bedtime story, come to life. Or even erotica era. I mean, and I love that she fought the people telling her not to sing with the Grills because the Grills are all over this album and they're
Yeah.
definitely part of Best Night.
Yeah. This is one of those songs that I don't know, the pacing makes it feel like you're actually in the car with her. I don't know. I've always thought that. Um
Uh,
but yeah, this is like a night out with Madonna and it's just like exactly what I wanted to hear. And it takes me back to erotica and bedtime stories. It has that
Hmm.
same beat and the
There's a
same
grittiness to
yeah.
it. It's
that's so funny, Tony. I had never thought about that, but honestly, this song could have been between Forbidden Love and Sanctuary, or
Yeah.
between Love Tried to Welcome Me and Sanctuary. It totally
Mhm.
could have fit in there. It is that energy. Oh wow.
yeah,
Okay,
it's
that
a
goes
great
back on my like list now.
But yeah, then like Veni Vidi Vici, I don't feel that's a successful song. I'm sorry. I like what they were trying to do with it, but I just don't. It's a skip for me.
It's
I like
also
I
half the song is Nas. I don't
yeah.
Yeah.
know.
Well,
I
I
like
like
Nas, but
her lyrics though, because it's kind of like it's basically like the celebration tour in one song, you know? She's like
Mhm.
telling you the story, you know? But yeah, Nas takes over and
true.
I'm like, I don't want to hear you rapping about how much you hate Khalees. Like that's not why I bought this album. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
His rap was out of
yeah.
place. It didn't
Yeah.
seem to fit in that song. Um,
I think she just wanted to work with him, and that's what
Yeah.
we ended up with. And they could have, both of them have done and could have done a much better collaboration.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
his album, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my
So then we
gosh.
go into SEX, um, which again, that to me is very on brand for Madonna, but I felt like it sort of didn't fit quite right here. I
Yeah.
mean, it was pushing buttons and sort of pushing agenda, but I just don't. I mean, I mean,
Rehash.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't feel it was as successful as it could have been.
it felt derivative. It felt like it could have been an interlude on a tour video as opposed to a full-on song. It could have been like a Get Stupid, you know what I mean?
Wasn't it? It wasn't an interlude. It wasn't. She didn't perform this on Rebel Heart. She just had the dancers on the beds. Remember?
Oh, I know, but I'm saying
Right.
the song could have just existed as an interlude, you
Oh
know?
As
yeah,
an interlude.
yeah. It
Yeah,
didn't need to
yeah,
be on the
yeah.
album.
Yeah.
It really gives MDNA energy versus it
For
doesn't
sure.
fit
Yeah.
anywhere into the Rebel Heart concept. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll
I
say
feel like at that point she was just getting bored and was like,
She's like, they
let's just
like it when I'm dirty. I'm gonna say a bunch of dirty
yeah,
things, you know?
like yeah.
So then we have Messiah, which I think is very beautiful.
I
Yeah.
love
It's
it.
a great, like, the instrumentation is beautiful. I like the lyrics to this song. Um, this is one of those where I think it would have fared very well as a soundtrack song for Madonna,
Yeah.
and I could have seen her performing it at like a Golden Globes or an Oscars. I'm surprised it didn't make it on a soundtrack somewhere, but
Yeah. I
um,
I love this song. I think it's very ambitious, but at the same time, I feel like it was also one of those, it's a ballad and they didn't know what to do with it. You know, they
mhm.
were trying to stay away from Madonna doing ballads, but hello, do the research. Madonna's biggest hits are ballads.
Right?
You know, let her lean into that, you know?
So frustrating.
I almost feel like maybe Interscope was afraid of the title of the song. And like maybe had it been a slightly less controversial sounding title,
Hmm.
they would have embraced it a little bit better. Messiah just it evokes religious intonations that maybe
Yeah,
Interscope
Yeah,
was like,
and
we can't go
and it
there.
came out at the same time that the religious right was calling Trump their messiah when he announced his
right.
candidacy like a month later. So,
I think you
I
just
think
slap it into Dune and it fits in with the
Yeah.
story and it has nothing to do with God. It has something to do with alien.
Chalamet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Alien Chalamet.
So then the title track, Rebel Heart, again, I still feel like the original Avicii version was a little bit peppier and happier, but I think the album version is still kind of fun. I think it's catchy,
It's
Mhm.
and
very pop rock.
yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
Stefan,
very.
you know which version I love the most, and you might agree with me. The one that we heard in Washington Square Park live.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot she performed that
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Oh right, that was the Hillary rally, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was that. Then
Yeah.
and we were on our way home thinking tomorrow we're gonna have a female president, and
Yeah.
here we are.
Here we are. But yeah, I thought Rebel Heart was successful as a track. It's again weird that we didn't get this um, as a single. I
Yeah.
felt like it would have bode well as a single.
Like True
And she loves
Bluish.
performing it live. You can see that.
She does. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And then so then then the last songs that made it, Beautiful Scars, Borrowed Time, Addicted, Graffiti Heart, and Autotune Baby. We're counting Autotune Baby because it was on a version and then I think it was removed. But
And it
Yeah.
was on the German bonus
yeah, but
Hmm.
track.
I know I heard it when it first came out. Um, like you
Yeah,
said,
that was
beautiful.
one that I had to like download from a separate source or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There was a lot of puzzle piecing with this. You had to,
Hmm.
you like some versions had something, other things you had to go here and there. And again, like you said, Beautiful Scars. That's
Oh, I love it.
it's such a
I
beautiful
love it.
song. It's so beautiful. I wish we would have gotten like I could have gone for like a remix EP of Beautiful Scars to hear
Yeah.
different shades of that. I think I would have loved to have heard remixed versions of that from her. It's just
She
beautiful.
sounds happy in that song. She sounds cute even, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very True Blue. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Borrowed Time. I don't.
Mm.
Yeah. Again, I mean, it's okay.
I think I've
Um,
heard it twice this week and when it came out.
yeah. But Addicted. Now that, and again, I can see why it sort of was buried on the Super Deluxe because that is very Avicii. Like, I mean, it even sounds like Avicii's Addicted that he put out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she sounds really commanding and great on that track. Like her vocals are really solid on that.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a fun vibe for her. It's very like Quentin Tarantino-esque almost. Like I just feel like that's like Addicted is like a audio representation of like a Quentin Tarantino vibe.
Yeah, it
And
kind of reminds me of Gangbang from NDNA. Like
ish.
the you know, not
Yeah.
not not the way it sounds, but like her delivery, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
really strong. Graffiti Heart, I mean,
Oh,
it's such a great nod to
Yeah.
oh,
her
I love it. I
origins in New
love,
York
love it, love it,
and
love it.
Yeah, that
I
song
re
always reminds me of Keith Haring when I hear it.
yeah, yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I re-added it to my workout playlist. I was like, oh, I'd forgotten this song and I
Yeah.
just love it. It makes
But
me happy.
there's a lot of that sort of sweetness on this album, which is again, it's weird that we go. I think it's just there's so many
Yeah.
highs to lows. You know, we're going from something like Sex to you know Beautiful Scars to
Yeah.
like there's. I mean, again, she was trying to deliver two different tropes in the album, but I think maybe the swings are very maybe they're too wide. I don't know. I mean, look, a lot of people love this album.
Yeah.
I mean, as I was re-listening to it, I was surprised at how much I remembered and how like I don't listen to this album all that often, but I love some of the songs on it, and I think I think it stands up. I think it
Yeah.
you know it's a very
I
contemporary sounding Madonna record.
Yeah, one thing I learned from this album, when Erotica came out and they had 13 tracks on it, I thought, thank you, Madonna. We want as many songs as possible. Just put them all on there, you know? And then when we had pared down albums like Music or Bedtime Stories, I'm like, why can't we have five more tracks, you know?
Right.
So I learned my lesson with Rebel Heart that not having too many songs is probably not in her best interest, you know? It's like keep it under 13, you know. Didn't she say once that 13's her favorite number? That's why she
Well, it's
Kabbalah,
Kabbalah.
yeah,
13
yeah.
is your lucky structure number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, um I we've already all agreed that yeah, this could have been edited, had a tighter, you know, yeah, just I can't even think of the word, but yeah, it tight, hold tight, you know?
Yeah.
It could have been more concise.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
what would you what do you think are some of the songs that would have should have gotten thrown out with, you know, like to sort
Well,
of
like
pare it down?
I think give her one rap song, take the rest out. Um, you know, stick to the concept, you know, half the songs are about being a rebellious, you know, bitch, and the rest are about being a sensitive, you know, woman going through different emotions, you know. I mean, also at this time she was adopting the twins and Mercy, so you know, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that
Yeah.
could have been part of like the heart of the album, you know. So I mean, yeah, I was kind of thinking about what Ben was thinking, that the heart of the album could have been more present and then the darkness could have been edited out, you know, or
Mm.
edited down, you know.
Yeah, I mean, looking at like the track list right now, like I'd throw out Illuminati,
Oh yeah.
I'd get rid of Body Shop. Sorry, Ben, Inside Out, Wash All Over Me as it currently stands, Veni Vidi Vici, I Could Do
Hmm.
Without Sex, Borrowed Time, Trash, and then I think that pares it down
Yeah.
just enough. But I mean, I'm sure I could throw out a couple more, but like
Yeah, I was
those,
gonna say you two are being nice because I got about 10 that I would get rid of. Unapologetic bitch, Illuminati, bitch I'm Madonna, Joan of Arc, Iconic, Body Shop, Holy Water, Wash All Over Me in
My
this
God.
incarnation, Veni Vidi Vici, and SEX.
Oh, okay. But see, I feel like iconic, even though that's
Ugh.
I feel like that was a
Mike
really,
Tyson,
it was a
why?
really
No.
fun tour opener, though. I
Oh,
felt like that opened that it was a very bombastic
Yeah.
song to open that tour.
it was, but it didn't need Mike Tyson.
Mm-mm.
She
I
wanted
know
that
that
though.
I know she's been buddies with him all the way back to the 80s when her and Sean and him and Robin Givens used to hang out in Hollywood, but
When they used to go see Mike Tyson fight at the Trump Taj Mahal,
oh God, it's like a virus.
hmm
Anyway.
Wow, Ben, you're
Oh.
that's a slashed version of this album.
But the remaining nine tracks like
hmm
are the Rebel and the Heart, and it's a mix of like some. I mean, if I could get the Avicii original Wash
Yeah.
All Over Me back, it'd be a 10
Yeah.
track album, and it would just be like bam. Well,
Well,
I
you'd
guess it's
also
But
more
throw
than
you'd
10.
also throw out Ghost Town, right?
If I get to put Beautiful Scars and Graffiti Heart on mine, I probably would get rid of Ghost Town. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, even though I was underwhelmed after like the album was completely released, I was still like, but wait, there's a tour coming and this is all going to be mostly justified, And I think it
mhm.
was. And we'll talk about that next time, but I thought it was a very successful tour, track list wise and, the
Oh
staging
yeah.
and all of
Yeah,
that.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, she delivered the goods for sure. Yeah, even if you were sort of like, I think it helped you sort of get past the rollout
hmm
a little bit.
And it was the first time I got to see Madonna in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
I still am surprised she didn't do. Well, we'll talk about it when we do the
Yeah.
tour.
Yeah,
Hold Tight's not the only song that I'm like, how is this not on the tour? So, yeah.
yeah, we'll get there. Well,
What do we,
happy.
okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, what do we all rank the album?
I'm going
Mm,
to give it a 6.5.
That's what I would give it, actually.
mm, mm-hmm. Okay. I'll give it a 7. I think it's a I think 7
It's
is good.
he's giving it a 7 because he's an unapologetic bitch.
That's right. He
Yeah.
likes the bitch songs. We see you, Stefan.
We
We see
see.
you. I'm surprised your background picture isn't you on stage with her.
No, no,
When I signed on and I'm like, wait, he's
that's
not using himself with her in the
that's
sparkly dress. Did
that's
I
for
log
the
into the wrong
No,
Zoom?
Stefan, I actually thought about this, but I didn't have the time to do it. I was going to do the photo with her, like put my face on her jumping the cover of the Rebel Heart DVD, and then you right next to her. But I didn't have time to do it.
Well, I was gonna say you can do that for the when we do the Rebel Heart
Okay,
tour
okay,
review. You
done,
can do
deal.
that.
That's too funny.
Um, well, everybody, that's our show for tonight. Thanks for joining us for a little look back on Madonna's, I guess, controversial 13th
Yeah,
album. I mean, I'm
But
curious to
you know,
see.
it was a good era. She was available. She gave
yeah,
interviews. She did TV.
Yeah.
She
Oh, the
seemed
promo was amazing for this.
the promo,
yeah,
even after all the crap that happened with the leaks, and even after she got nearly murdered by her backup dancers, like I
true.
loved her week-long residency on Ellen and
Right?
the
hmm
different songs that she performed, and then sitting there next to Justin Bieber, and you could just tell she was like, okay, I'm going along with this, but God, dear God, help me. This is what my
Yeah,
life has become. Like the look on her face was just
yeah.
like so funny.
No,
Yeah.
and you said available, and I mean, this was the first tour since Girly Show where she really went all over the world.
Oh, she
Yeah.
really did.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean,
gave
just the
people
fact
the
that she
songs they wanted to hear.
just the fact
hmm
that she brought people up on stage. I mean, she'd
I
never
know,
Oh,
done that before. Like, that was
yeah.
including
insane.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
What?
including you. God, people got to hear Take a Bow and
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
Don't Live Here Anymore. We
yeah,
got
oh my
deeper and
God.
deeper. Hi,
Deep. Oh,
hello.
I love that
All
version
right.
of Deeper and
We'll
Deeper.
get there for the
Okay.
tour. We'll get there for the tour.
Jesus.
Hey, we're teasing and promoing,
Yeah,
okay?
slow your
Yeah.
rolls.
And yeah, there's actually, yeah, there's songs that I would cut from the album in my harsh edit that I actually liked on the tour. So
Yeah.
that'll come later. Yeah.
There we go. Well, something to look forward to, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, remember, everybody, you can find us on all social platforms at MLVC Podcast. If you'd like to donate to the show, we're on Venmo at MLVC Podcast, or on YouTube, you can click the like button and donate via Super Thanks. If you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, take that subscribe button so you never miss a video. Until next time, everybody. Thanks, guys, for joining us. This is a fun show. I love when we
I
disagree
know,
on
me
things,
too.
and when we like, if we all got along and loved everything, it would just be too fake, you know. So it's
I
like,
know. I can't wait to talk about the tour.
throw
'Cause,
out Ghost Town. It's like, oh, those are
whoa.
from some fighting words.
Sorry. I think it's milk toast. It's just like bleh. Like I just like give it to Selena Gomez already or
Oh my
something.
goodness.
No, no. Give it back to Madonna and re-release it, please.
Well, then
Mm.
reproduce it with some better production, something, anything. Oh my
Oh my
God.
God. Ben, I'm going to give you the
What
final word.
what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
All right, say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. And we
Bye.
miss you, Liberty. We'll see
Oh
you in
yeah,
the
bye,
next
Yeah,
one, all
Liberty.
we miss
right?
you,
Next time,
Liberty.
she'll be yeah, next
She'll
time.
be here next
Yeah,
time.
yeah.